Alright, so this is supposed to be my final exam video, and what I want to talk about first is the skills that I expected to gain from this class. So, for the most part, I feel like what I wanted to gain from this class is confidence. For the most part, I feel like growing up, I was always like so nervous around people. I always stuttered, and I really want to get that out of my system. And I felt like for the most part, I did. I was able to be more confident during my speeches. Throughout each speech, I started, getting more confident, and I liked that. For terms that I'm going to use in the future, I chose mindful listening from chapter 5, which is basically being fully present with people, paying close attention to what they're saying, their gestures, their manners, and even their silences. An example of this would be my little sister. So no one really listens to her when she talks. I guess it's because she's younger, and most of the time people just cut her off, or they're just like passively or listening or selective hearing basically. And I feel like I can use this when it comes to her. I feel like she, even though she's young, she could have like good things to say, and I feel like listening to what she has to say, paying close attention to her, and who knows, like it can be important to her, and people aren't really listening. So I feel like I can use mindful listening in order to fully listen to what she has to say and understand it. For my second term, I chose self-disclosure from chapter 7, and this is basically the process of deliberately revealing information about oneself that is significant, that not many people would know. And I chose this because an example I would use is I haven't really, told my parents exactly what I want to do for my college major. I recently decided what I wanted to do, and for the most part, everyone that I know knows that I am undecided. So they don't know, no one knows what I want to do, and I like recently figured it out. So revealing this information to my parents would be an example of self-disclosure that I can do. For a presentation that I thought was really strong, I feel like my persuasive speech was the strongest, only because it was a really good connection. Like my narrative connection was really deep, and it was really important to me, and I feel like music's important to me, and I really liked that I was able to talk about it. Um, I felt like I did a lot of research through it. Like during the research part of my speech, I went through so many databases to find the sources that I use, and I felt like because of all the research I did, it was a really powerful message. Also, I felt like people really liked my thesis statement, which is basically, it's important to learn music, and my supporting details, how it helps preserve culture. It's easier to learn. I thought it was really interesting, and I felt like people believe that too. And I felt like people really liked my call to action because after my visual aid, the demonstration where I asked anyone to name a song and I learned it on the spot, I felt like people, they thought it is possible to learn music because like anywhere you look, you can just search up on Google, a certain song and it'll be there. And I felt like my call to action might, reach out to other people and they might actually, choose to do it. For a speech that I thought was very good, I thought that Morgan's was good, her persuasive speech where she talked about jumping cars. I really liked the story about how she was stuck at the airport. I thought it was really funny, and her narrative connection was really, was there. So I felt like people can connect to it too because there's so many cases where people got stuck and they didn't know how to jump the car. I also really liked her demonstration. It was very well thought out where she would clip the jumper cables to the board, and then she'd have the dead battery, the live battery, and she showed us exactly how to put it on and exactly how to take it off. I really thought that that was a really good presentation, and she had really good voice projection as well. For the organizational pattern that I used in my interview speech, I used topic order slash topic pattern, which is basically, having my speech arranged in points according to logical types or categories, which is like where I put it in order in terms of this is important next to this is important next to this is important. It's just certain topics, put together in a certain, paragraph or a certain part of the speech. And I did this because I thought it was an easy way to organize my speech so I didn't go off topic or I didn't jump from one topic to another. And because of this organization pattern, I was able to transition from topic to topic very easily. My outline was really, was really well thought out as well. For the method of informing I use for my informative speech, I use describing. So I was describing esports and what it's about, describing why, it's a growing community, and I feel like describing was probably the best way to go, only because not a lot of people know about it, and describing it can just give them a general idea of what it is, and I felt like that's like the best thing you can do is give them information, inform them, what you're trying to talk about. And I also use topic order in this speech as well, where I organized it in terms of certain topics, certain points that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't stray from like different topics. Like I didn't jump back and forth like at all. And I felt like that was the best way to go at it. It was an easier way to organize my speech. It's similar to my interview speech, but it was a different topic. For techniques that I use to actuate my audience for my persuasive speech, I used the direct approach on page 381, which is basically where I didn't try to hide what I was trying to tell them. I didn't try to, disguise what I was trying to persuade them to do. I told them like straight up. Like I told them, I really want you guys to learn how to play an instrument, pick up an instrument, try it out. It's fun, it's easy to learn. I was open about what I wanted to say. For my speaking skills that I improved on, I felt like I improved on voice projection. For my first speech, I felt like I was talking really quiet, and I watched over it. I was even quieter during my informative speech, and I felt like during my persuasive speech, I just really let it out. I was just, my confidence grew throughout the semester as well, and I felt like throughout the whole semester, I was improving on everything. I improved on my visual aids as well. I felt like for my first speech though, my visual aid was okay, and then my informative speech it wasn't too good because it was just pictures and then a video. But then for my persuasive speech, I felt like I really grasped the idea of uniqueness and trying to be creative in what I wanna, what I wanna talk about. For strengths that my instructor gave me, she told me that for my final speech, I did a good job in putting in a narrative connection, and she also said that I transitioned well throughout my whole like speech. It was very well thought out, where each topic was moving like closer and closer to the main idea of it, and I felt like she helped me, see that. And also she said that I had an excellent demo, and I really liked that because I really thought about my demo for a long time and how to do it. My classmates told me that it seemed like I really liked talking in front of an audience, which I really did. I really liked talking in front of them, and they told me that I was a natural speaker. And someone also mentioned how they liked how I always add comedy. For what areas I could do better, my professor told me that I need to learn on spreading my eye contact throughout the room. I need to keep my head up, and I need to stop looking at my notes, and also not to use as a verbal pause, which I've been doing throughout the video, but I can work on it. And I feel like I can work on it by practicing my speech more, going through my outline, even, talking to myself or even presenting in front of a small audience like my family, just trying to say my speech out loud so I can get everything across and, be better at it. For what I think I could have done better to improve my in performances, I felt like I could have practiced more. I said about it for the last subject, but I feel like if I practiced more and I talked more to an audience, or I was more confident in what I said and I stood straight up, I felt like I would have done better in all my speeches actually. If I was better at timing everything, I felt like I could have, did it so I wasn't rushing or I wasn't, slowing down in order to meet a certain time limit. For my personal goals and professional goals, my personal goals, I want to be more confident in myself. I want to, talk with confidence and, be more mindful of what other people are saying. And then for my professional goals, I want to research more about what I want to do for my major so I can tell my parents about it. I can possibly use these skills that I learned throughout the class in a group presentation when I go to graduate school for my major. And I felt like I learned so much in this class that I become so confident in what I say. And honestly, like I feel like the information that I gain is gonna help me become a better speaker, but even better, I feel like it's gonna make me into a better listener. Thanks for listening. Bye.